World War II was fought not only with guns and tanks but also through the powerful weapon of propaganda. For the Soviet Union, whose survival was at stake after the brutal German invasion of 1941, propaganda was crucial in mobilizing millions, sustaining morale, and shaping both domestic and international perceptions of the war effort. The Soviet government deployed a sophisticated and relentless propaganda machine to unite the population under the banner of patriotism, heroism, and ideological struggle. This article explores how Soviet war propaganda played a vital role in winning hearts and minds during the Great Patriotic War. Mobilizing a nation under siege. The German invasion, known in the USSR as the Great Patriotic War, caught the Soviet population by surprise and inflicted devastating losses. Faced with this existential threat, Soviet leadership, led by Joseph Stalin, understood that maintaining public morale and unity was essential. Propaganda was used to instill a sense of patriotic duty to defend the motherland against the fascist invader. Portray the war as a heroic struggle for survival and justice. Encourage sacrifice, endurance, and resilience on the home front and battlefield. Themes and messaging. Soviet propaganda was rich with powerful and emotive themes including the Great Patriotic War, framing the conflict as a patriotic crusade to save the homeland. Glorification of the Red Army and partisans, elevating soldiers and resistance fighters as heroic defenders. Demonization of the enemy, portraying Nazis as brutal fascists bent on destruction and oppression. Unity of Soviet peoples, emphasizing the diverse ethnic groups of the USSR united against a common enemy. Stalin as a father figure, cultivating the image of Stalin as the wise and strong leader guiding the nation to victory. Methods and mediums. The Soviet propaganda apparatus used every available medium to reach its audience. Posters and art. Bold, colorful posters depicted heroic soldiers, fearless workers, and vilified enemies, creating powerful visual symbols. Radio broadcasts. Speeches, news, and patriotic songs were broadcast to boost morale, even in the most remote areas. Films and literature. Movies and books glorified Soviet victories, heroic sacrifices, and the righteousness of the Soviet cause. Newspapers and leaflets. Constant news updates and motivational stories kept the population informed and engaged. Education and youth groups. Children and youth were inculcated with patriotic values through schools and organizations like the Young Pioneers. Impact on soldiers and civilians. Soviet propaganda had a profound impact on both the front lines and home front. It inspired courage and tenacity among soldiers who saw themselves as defenders of their homeland and ideology. It galvanized civilians to contribute to the war effort by working in factories, farming, and supporting partisans. It helped sustain hope and unity during the darkest periods of siege and retreat. It fostered a collective identity centered on sacrifice and ultimate victory. International propaganda and diplomacy. Beyond its borders, Soviet propaganda aimed to garner support and sympathy from Allied countries and influence global public opinion. By portraying the USSR as a heroic and indispensable force against fascism, Soviet propaganda sought to legitimize Soviet leadership in the post-war world. The double-edged sword. While effective, Soviet propaganda also had its contradictions. The idealized portrayal often glossed over harsh realities such as military setbacks, civilian suffering, and political repression. However, in the context of total war, propaganda was a vital tool for maintaining cohesion and determination. Soviet war propaganda was a critical element in the USSR's ability to endure, resist, and ultimately defeat Nazi Germany. By winning hearts and minds, the Soviet leadership ensured that millions remained committed to a cause far greater than themselves. The legacy of this propaganda campaign reveals how narratives and symbols can become as powerful as weapons in shaping the course of history.